Hi everyone. Today I'm going to teach you how to double check your works consulted or cited page. So I have been taking citations from different sources and I've put them all in one place. And at this point, I'm ready to double check it. So what are some of the things I look for? So the first thing I look for is font and font size. So in general, you're going to have a standard font and it's going to be 12 is your font size. So the first thing I do is I want to make sure this is all 12. And I want to make sure this is like one of the standards ones. So a lot of times I'll choose Arial or Times New Roman. Second thing I check for is the formatting of each citation. So things I'm looking for is that in general, it's going to start with an author's last name, if there is one, last name, comma, first name. If there isn't, it starts with the title of the article, which is in quotation marks. So in most citations, especially internet citations, you will have something that's in quotation marks. Going through, I do see that in this case, there are no situations where there is an author. So I go on to the next part, which is that there will also be something that is italicized in each citation. This is where I automatically see something that's wrong. I see here in my second citation that there is nothing that's italicized. The italicized part is actually what we call the container. The container is the website that contains that information, or if it's a book, it's the book that contains the information. So now I'm going to fix this by actually italicizing it. A third thing I check is that in my containers, I shouldn't have .edu, .com, or anything. Usually the container is just the title of the website. So in this case, I'm going to take that out. Other things I look for is I'm going to look at my date to make sure my dates are correct. So most citations do have a date. The date is usually at the bottom of the page, or it's actually when the article came out. And it is written day, month, and year, with the month being abbreviated. So I want to make sure there on those days that I do have one. So this one does not have one. So I would go back and look that up. But I see that also here's another one with one. And so I would go back and look that up. If there is no date at the bottom of the page, afterwards, after your URL, you want to put accessed. So like access date, access 25th August 2020, AUG for August. So in that case, but let's say that I've done that. Next thing I'm going to look for is everything in alphabetical order. Now to do alphabetical order, it's straight up the alphabet, but if it does start with AN or D, you go to the next word. And in the case it starts with a number, you imagine that that number is spelled out. So the number 5 will start with a letter F. So in this case, I see that this is not in the right case. That should indeed be at the end. So I'm going to paste that in there. And then I just double check that everything else is right. And it looks like it is. Okay, next thing is you notice that my title is at the top and it's centered, and everything else, notice it is not like even. There's like extra space between them, and also it's not double space. So citations are all double space. So I want to make sure that everything is double space. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm actually in Google Docs, but it works pretty similarly in Word or Word Online. And I'm going to go to Format, and I'm going to go to Line Spacing, and I want double spacing. Okay, and the other thing too is that I want to take out, there's some extra spacing here. And going back to format, I want to look at my remove spacing. So I want to make sure that I remove all the spacing between them. And so you see, I have actually done that. Okay, then the last part, there is actually a separate video on this. I'm going to make sure I have my hanging indent. In Google Docs is different than Word, so make sure you watch a little video on formatting to do the Word part. But in Google Docs, what I do is I grab up here, I have everything highlighted, I grab it all and I move it over to 0.5. Then I go back to the top and I grab the rectangle and I move the rectangle back to 0. And that's how you do it. So once again, I'm now ready to check. That looks all right. I'll go through and check it again, add in the dates for the 2 places that didn't have them, and I'm done. Thank you. And if you need any help, make sure you ask Ms. Smithfield.